ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. All the kids, please repeat along with me. You have the prayers up on the screen, okay? Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pashtade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Everyone with their hands high up, loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we welcome you all for this another session of Mahabharata. And today we are doing the fourth episode. We are in this particular series of talk. We are going through the different parvas or the different cantos of Mahabharata. So far, we have discussed the Adi Parva, the beginning part of Mahabharata, and we saw as part of Adi Parva how the whole lineage of Kauravas and Pandavas up to the time of Pandava's birth, and after the death of Pandu, Pandavas and Mother Kunti, they went back to the kingdom, and now the sons of Dhritarashtra, that means the Kauravas, particularly led by Duryodhan, under the guidance of Shakuni, have become very, very envious of the five brothers, Pandavas. And उस समय उस चीज का फायदा उठाते हुए दुर्योधन कई बार पांडवस के ऊपर जानलेवा हमला करने का प्रयत्न करता है. We discussed the story of how Duryodhan had fed poison to Bhima, and then Bhima was saved and he came out being more powerful. Like this, we also saw the incident of how how Duryodhan had built a Lakshagraha at a place called Varnavat, which is near to the today's place called Meerut, and had asked the Pandavas to go and spend their retreat or go for a weekend for a retreat. And Duryodhan had tried to kill Pandavas along with their mother Kunti. And we saw how the whole story, they went to the forest. They had to live in a disguise in the forest for a long time. And we talked about the killing of Hidamba, marriage of Bhima with Hidambi, and then killing of Bakasur by Bhima. All that stories we had discussed. And finally, Arjuna wins the hand of Draupadi in the Swayamvar. And now Draupadi gets married to Arjuna and then to five Pandavas. And when Dhritarashtra was informed, a messenger was sent by Drupad to Hastinapur to inform Dhritarashtra that the Pandavas are alive. So on the advice of Vidura and Bhishma Pitama, Dhritarashtra was forced against his will, against his desire, and he had to invite all the Pandavas along with their mother Kunti and the wife Draupadi back to the kingdom. So the Pandavas, they returned back to the kingdom. Now the tussle between the power, who would rule, began. And there was a great, conversation or debate. Who would be the prince? Who would be the next king? Duryodhan or Yudhishthira? Yudhishthira was supposed to be the king, but because it was assumed that all the Pandavas have died, Dhritarashtra had declared Duryodhan to be the next king. And Duryodhan was not willing to let go of that role. So then, after a lot of debate, a lot of struggle, finally, again by the advice of Bhishma and Vidura, Dhritarashtra conceded, and they decided to give a part of a land, part of a kingdom to Pandavas. And the part of the land which was given to the Pandavas, I have enabled the chat. What was the name of the land which was given to the Pandavas? It was a deserted land. All the fertile and usable land the Kauravas kept for themselves, and the most useless, deserted land, they gave it to the Pandavas, which is known as modern day Delhi. And that is the place where they established Indraprasth. So the place that was given to them was not Indraprasth before, it was Khandavaprasth, like that, which was surrounded by a great, what do you say, a forest, Khandavavan. So with that, Adi Parva ended, where Pandavas were given a kingdom, were given a land, but it was all deserted, useless land. However, Yudhishthira Maharaj, the greatness of Yudhishthira Maharaj, he did not complain even once. With all humility, Yudhishthira Maharaj accepted the kingdom, whatever the kingdom was given to Yudhishthira Maharaj by Dhritarashtra, although it was a great injustice. But you will see again and again the life of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Same with Yudhishthira and same with the Pandavas, like Arjuna, they would accept it as a will of providence. So Yudhishthira accepted, came there, and they began to settle down what they call as Indraprasth later on. And this marks the beginning of the second canto of Mahabharata, jiska naam hai Sabha Parv. Well, now what is the meaning of Sabha Parv? Sabha Parv talks about the life of Pandavas at Indraprasth. Sabha is named after that famous celestial palace built by Mayasur. Why and how Mayasur built it, we'll discuss today right now. And on that great Sabha, Maya Sabha जिसका नाम था, उसके नाम के ऊपर इस पर्व का नाम दिया गया है Sabha Parv. So Sabha Parv talks about the life of Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king of Indraprasth, until the time when a dice game was played. And at the dice game, Duryodhana and Shakuni cheated the Pandavas and they sent them away to 12 years in exile and 1 year in incognito. So up to the game of a dice, all the discussion comes in Sabha Parv. So what are the important events? We'll talk about it, all that, okay? So the very first incident that begins in Sabha Parv is Krishna visiting, sorry, wait a second. Yeah. Krishna visiting Indraprasth to meet Pandavas, particularly Arjuna, Yudhishthira, and everyone else. So one day, Lord Shri Krishna was spending time with Arjuna in his chamber when Krishna said to Arjuna, "Hey Arjuna, let us go for a ride. Let us go to the bank of Jamuna and let's go and spend some time there." So Arjuna and Krishna, they were almost same in age. So Arjuna said yes. So Arjuna acted like a friend to Krishna, and Arjuna said, "Yes, my dear friend Krishna," because they were same in age. "Let's go to the bank of Jamuna." So they both came to the bank of Jamuna, and when they were spending some time there, suddenly a very effulgent Brahmana appeared to Krishna and Arjuna. He was so effulgent that his body was radiating. His eyes were so bright as if the eyes were emitting fire. And he looked so incredible. As soon as this Brahmana came in front of Krishna and Arjuna, both of them got up and they offered their respect to this Brahman. And Arjuna asked with all humility, "Hey, my dear Brahman, please tell us how can we serve you?" And that's the time the Brahman said, "Hey Arjuna, I am a Brahmin and I desire food for satiation. But no matter what I do, my hunger does not get quenched. I feel that only you two will be able to give me food befitting me, whereby I can be satisfied." Arjuna said, "Yes, Brahmana, there is so much food available all over the world. How can you not be satisfied? I am willing to do anything. I'm willing to bring anything that you want, and I will give you." And Arjuna said, "I have sworn to help anyone who approaches me with a legitimate request. It is not right that you should go hungry when there is so much food available in the world. I shall arrange to you whatever you want. I promise you, you will not go hungry any longer." When Arjuna gave promise like this to the Brahman, that time Brahmana revealed his identity. Does anyone know who was it Brahman who had come to meet Arjuna and Krishna? How many of you have seen Mahabharata serial? Okay. I don't know if all this thing has been, shown in the serial, but yes, glad. The Agni Devta, it was Agni Devta who had come in the disguise of a Brahmin. So Agni Devta came and he said, Hey Arjuna, I'm not an ordinary Brahmin. I am Agni Devta, and I have come here, and I want to consume this whole forest that you see behind me. And behind Jamuna, there was a incredible, huge, lush green forest, jiska naam tha Khandava forest. And so the Agni Devta said, "Hey Arjuna, I want to consume this whole forest, and have tried 7 times to burn it, but every time I have failed." Arjuna said, "Why? What happened, Agni-detta? Why you're not able to consume the whole forest?" And then Agni-detta said, "Hey, Arjuna, let me tell you a small story." And he said, long ago, there was a king who performed fire sacrifice. He did a fire sacrifice. Excuse me. He did a fire sacrifice for 12 years. And for continuously 12 years, that king had poured ghee in the fire. And because he poured ghee for 12 years straight, and I am the Agni Detta, I am the fire, I accept all the sacrifices offered in the fire. I have eaten so much ghee in 12 years, because of which I have got indigestion. And because I got indigestion, I cannot take anything. All the yajnas have stopped. And everyone is complaining to me, Agni Devta, why are you not accepting our sacrifices? Because of indigestion, I cannot take anything. I become so sick, I went to Brahma. I went to Brahmaji and I told Brahmaji, give me something with which, in other words, he asked Brahma, give me a digestive aid. Give me some, hing goli or something with which I can get a digestion. So Brahma said, hey Agni Devta, for your digestion, you should go, and on planet Earth, there is a forest by the name of Khandava Vraksh or Khandava Van. Khandava Van has been known to give shelter to the enemies of the Devtas. There are all kind of wild animals and demons. You can go and burn and consume the whole forest. And in that forest, there are many herbs and medicines. If you burn the whole forest, then through that the herbs will also get burned and you will be able to digest. So Agni-detta said, okay. And then Agni-detta came and he tried to burn the forest. He tried it 7 times, but every time Indra would come and would shower rains and would not let Agni burn the forest. So Agni-detta told Arjuna that I went again to Brahma and I requested Brahma to help me. And that's the time Brahma told me to go and take shelter of Krishna and Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, that's the reason I've come to you. Although I'm capable to burn anything, but I'm not able to do so. Why? Because Indra is protecting this forest. Then Arjuna asked, what is Indra's interest? Why Indra is protecting Khandavavan? Does anyone know why Indra was so keen to protect Khandavavan? What was so special in Khandavavan because of which Indra was not allowing Agni to consume? Okay. No, not Tulsi. So in Khandavavan, there was a friend of Indra by the name of Takshak. This is that same Takshak, the snake bird, which had killed Parikshit Maharaj later on. So anyways, the friend of Indra was there. So anytime Agni would try to consume the whole forest, Indra will come. So that time Arjuna said, hey Agni Devta, I promise you, I will help you. However, for me to fight against Indra, I need some weapons. We don't even have a chariot here. We just came out for a walk. And that's the time Agni Devta gave Arjuna his celestial bow. What is the name of Arjuna's bow? Anyone knows? Arjuna ke bow ka kya naam hai? Yes, Gandiva. That celestial Gandiva bow was given by Agni Devta. Along with that bow, Agni Devta also gave the celestial chariot that Arjuna had used at the war of Kurukshetra. And this chariot could run at the speed of the mind. Along with that chariot, the Agni Devta had also given him 2 quivers. Quivers means जिसके अंदर कहते हैं what do you say धनुष रखे जाते हैं, बाण रखे जाते हैं, and he was given 2 quivers in which the arrows would never get exhausted. Like this, celestial weapons were given to Arjuna, and also something very special was given by Agni to Krishna. Does anyone know what did Krishna give? What did Agni give to Krishna? Yes, it was Sudarshan Chakra. Now you might wonder why Sudarshan Chakra was given by Agni to Krishna. Krishna always carries Sudarshan Chakra. Krishna doesn't carry. In other words, Vishnu always has Sudarshan Chakra. Does it mean Sudarshan Chakra wasn't there with Vishnu before this incident? No. Sometimes people confuse like this. So my question is, did Agni really give Sudarshan Chakra to Krishna? Or is Sudarshan Chakra is an eternal companion of Lord Vishnu or Krishna? So the answer is just like when Lord comes, let's say Lord appeared as Ram. Ram is Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. So Mother Lakshmi appeared as Sita. Lakshmi Narayan are always together, but when they came into this planet Earth to perform pastimes, Mother Sita took birth somewhere else, Lord Krishna took birth, in other words, they appeared somewhere else, and then due course of time they were married. Similarly, this is just a pastime where Sudarshan Chakra was brought back to Krishna, but they're never separated like that. So like this, the weapons were given, and then Arjuna said, my dear Agni Devta, now please go and burn the forest. And I promise you, we will not allow any demon, any animal to run away from the forest. And also we promise we will not allow Indra Devta to pour rain and to stop your consumption of this forest. So that time Agni Devta turned into his fire element and he began to consume the whole forest. The whole forest was burning with fire. Everything was burning. Everywhere there was forest fire. And all the demons and all the animals were getting killed into that or burnt into that forest fire as Brahma wanted it. Suddenly, Indra was informed about this incident. And when Indra was informed, Indra came. First of all, Indra didn't came. Indra sent his two famous rain clouds and they began to pour water onto the Khandava. It's a very interesting story. At that time, Arjuna, you can see in the photo, Arjuna shot arrows and he covered the whole forest. The arrows were placed like a canopy. In such a way, the whole forest was covered by the canopy of the arrows, and not even a single drop of water or the rainwater could enter into the forest. And when Indra saw this, that Arjuna is preventing the rain to reach the forest, then Indra himself came and they began to fight. And it is described that there was a big fight between Indra and Arjuna that went on for some time. And finally, there was a sound in the heaven which said, Indra, enough is enough. You wanted to save the life of your friend Takshak. Takshak is not there in the forest. And not only that, Takshak's son, Ashravena, has also survived and he also had ran away from the forest. Now you have no purpose to interfere into this. Brahma had ordered Agni to consume this. You should go back. And that's the time Indra Devta retreated. He stopped fighting with Arjuna. And then suddenly the rain stopped. When the rain stopped, the forest fire, the burning fire, the Agni Devta had also consumed most of the forest. However, one particular demon had survived. And that particular demon was trying to run away. And that time Krishna saw this particular demon is trying to run away. And Krishna took his Sudarshan Chakra and he wanted to shoot at this demon. And when demon saw that Krishna is about to kill him, he came and took shelter of Arjuna. And the name of this demon was Mayasur, or Maya demon. When he took shelter of Arjuna, then Krishna did not kill him. And that's the time Maya demon said, my dear Lord, you have saved my life. I'm so grateful to you. Please allow me to do something for you. So Arjuna said, no, we don't need anything from you. But then Krishna said, no, Mayasur is a great architect. He can build a magnificent palace. So that's the time Krishna requested Maya demon to go and build a palace for Pandavas, of which there is no comparison in the 14 worlds. And that's the time Maya demon took 14 months, 14 mahine, not 14 saal. In 14 months, he built a palace, more like a magnificent city he built. There were no stones and marbles. It was all made of diamonds, emeralds, and the most expensive jewels. And it is explained that this palace was so incredible, so beautiful, that Indra's palace, which is said to be the most divine, looked insignificant in front of this. And like that, Maya demon built the most magnificent Maya Sabha, or the palace for the Pandavas, and Pandavas began to live in it. Everything was going peaceful, everything was wonderful at that point of time, until one day, uh, Narad Muni came. Everything was going good. Narad Muni came, and Narad Muni came to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. And there's a beautiful dialogue. This is the second incident in Sabha Parva after the building of the palace, the Maya Sabha. Then Narad Muni comes to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj, and there's a beautiful instructions that Narad Muni gives to Yudhishthira Maharaj that how to rule the kingdom and how to be a good administrator. But before going, Narad Muni requested Yudhishthira Maharaj that you should perform Rajasuya Yajna. And like that, everything continued peacefully until one day, one evening, something happened. Pandavas ruled Indraprastha for next 1 year without any issue. Everything was going on very wonderfully. However, one evening, one Brahman came running to the palace and he was screaming, "Save me, save me, save me, O pious kings, in your presence, the cows of the poor Brahmana have been stolen, you have to save me." And when Arjuna heard like this, Arjuna said, "Oh, don't worry, Brahman, I'll come and save you. I'm here. At any case, in any situation, I will protect you and protect your right." And Arjuna then went inside to look for his weapons. And when Arjuna went inside, they realized actually his weapons are not there. His weapons are actually kept in the chambers of Draupadi. Now, there is a little side story. I will not go much in details. Sarvabhauma talks about it. As you all know, Draupadi was married to 5 brothers. So when they came and settled in Indraprastha, they had decided that Draupadi would stay with one brother, with one husband for 1 whole year. And another 4 brothers would come and interfere. So this was a commitment. If anyone comes and interfere, anyone goes into the chambers of Draupadi, if that is not their division, then they have to go to the forest for 12 years in exile. Now Arjuna realized that my 1 year tenure just got over, but I forgot my weapons are still in Draupadi's chamber. What do I do? Should I go inside or not? If I don't go inside, then Brahmana will be upset because I cannot protect Brahmana. But if I go inside, then I will have to go to the forest for 12 years in exile. But if I don't protect the Brahmana, then the reputation of my elder brother, Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is the king of Indraprastha, people will defile him. People will speak ill about Yudhishthira Maharaj, that Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers could not save the Brahmana. What should I do? And what do you think Arjuna decided to do? Arjuna had 2 options. To save the respect of Yudhishthira Maharaj, go and fetch weapons from Draupadi's chamber, or else do not do anything and save himself from going to the forest. If he tries to save the dignity of Yudhishthira Maharaj, then Arjuna will have to go to the forest for 12 years. However, if he does nothing, then some people would blame Yudhishthira Maharaj and will complain about him. Arjuna thought, no, I cannot allow my elder brother to be disrespected. And he decided to fetch a weapon. He got the weapon. He went and fought with the robbers who had stolen the cows of the Brahmanas. He rescued the cows, brought it back. And when he came back, Yudhishthira Maharaj was very happy. Bhima was very happy. Nakul, Sahadev were very happy. In fact, Draupadi was very happy. But Arjuna was not happy. And when Yudhishthira Maharaj looked at the face of Arjuna, he asked, Arjuna, what happened? And Arjuna said, my dear king, because as we have taken a vow, we have signed an agreement, I will now leave for the forest for 12 years. If you see in the life of Pandavas, Arjuna is one person who had spent maximum time in the forest. There's a second time that he's going to run into the forest, and third time in the dice game. Now, Yudhishthira Maharaj was heartbroken. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no, Arjuna, you don't have to do this thing. Arjuna said, my dear elder brother, I as a Kshatriya, I as your younger brother, I have to follow the vow. We had taken a commitment. And this is the beauty of the characters of Pandavas. You know, just like Lord Ram, Dasharatha Maharaj had given a promise to Kunti, Kekai. Dasharatha Maharaj had said to Kekai, yes, I fulfill your, I give you the blessing. And Kekai said, yes, the two boons that I ask is send Ram to Vanvas. And Dasharatha Maharaj was forced to do so. And Lord Ram said, yes, my father had given a blessing, I will. In fact, Dasharatha Maharaj said, Ram, you don't have to go. But still he followed the commitment. Similarly here, Arjuna followed the commitment and he went out for 12 years, wandering alone in the forest. So just a side note, Arjuna is said to be the hero, real hero, a very dear friend of Krishna. And very one quick thing we all can learn from Arjuna is about keeping our commitments and vows. So all of you had taken a vow that all of you would chant 2 rounds extra every day. So how many of the kids here are able to chant 2 extra rounds every day? How many of you are able to chant every day 2 extra rounds? Please reply back to the chat box. And how many of you are able to chant sometimes? Not every day, but sometimes. Okay, so please learn from this beautiful quality from Arjuna. Look how Arjuna was dear to Lord. And this is a beautiful quality of Arjuna, that he'll keep his commitment. So I'm happy to see most of you are able to do it. But those who are not able to do it, they should try to do it. All right. Thank you. Thank you. We'll come back to, I'll disable the chat again. And Arjuna went to the forest for 12 years. And that's the time Arjuna got married to 3 other queens. Arjuna in total had 4 wives. First, Draupadi. What are the names of other 3 queens of Arjuna? Arjuna went to the east part of India, and there he went and got married to, okay, I'll enable the chat. I forgot. Whom did he got married when he went to the East India, to the place of Meghalaya and Mizoram and that area? Ulupi, yes, correct. He got married to Ulupi, and then after getting married to Ulupi, to whom did he got married? What was the name of his 3rd wife? Chitrangada, very good, Himangi, correct. Subhadra was his 4th wife. So what you see in the photo here is Krishna kidnapping Subhadra. So that's a whole beautiful story and all that thing. I will not go in details, but I'll just tell you one quick short snippet about it. Krishna wanted to marry Subhadra and Subhadra wanted to marry Krishna. Who is Subhadra? Subhadra is the sister of Krishna and Balram. However, Balram wanted Subhadra to marry whom? Balram wanted Subhadra to get married to whom did? Yes, Duryodhan. But Krishna didn't wanted Subhadra to get married to Duryodhan. So one day Krishna called Subhadra aside and he said, Subhadra, you have 2 options. You can get married to Duryodhan as your elder brother Balram wants, or you can get married to Arjuna. And so as soon as Subhadra heard the name of Duryodhan, she said, oh, no. I cannot get married to that fool. I want to get married to Arjuna. And Krishna had arranged and orchestrated that whole kidnapping of Subhadra that had happened, because of which Lord Balram had become very angry. That's a side story anyways. So like this, Arjuna got married to 3 other queens and he came back. And now he is living in the palace. Everything is going wonderful now again. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, because Narad Muni had told Yudhishthira Maharaj to perform Rajasuya Yajna, so Yudhishthira Maharaj calls the brothers, and Krishna also comes back from Dwarka to Indraprastha, and under the guidance of Krishna, Yudhishthira Maharaj begins to prepare for Rajasuya Yajna. I believe about Rajasuya Yajna, yesterday was discussed, so I'm not going to go into the details. I'll just give you a little minor details around Rajasuya Yajna, although most of it was shared yesterday. So for Rajasuya Yajna, the Yudhishthira Maharaj concern was that you need a lot of wealth. So that's the time the 4 brothers, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakul and Sahadev, they went in the north, south, east, west direction. And they went and collected wealth. And whoever were not in the favor of accepting the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj, then they fought with them. In the meantime, Krishna said, in this world, there is only one person, hey Yudhishthira Maharaj, who will not accept you as the king, or who will not let this Rajasuya Yajna get completed. Yudhishthira Maharaj asked, who is that person? Who was that person who Krishna said that Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna would disguise as a Brahmana and we should go and fight with this person. He was a father-in-law of Kamsa. Yes, Jarasandha. Jarasandha's daughters were married to Kamsa. And like that, Lord Shri Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna went, fought with Jarasandha and killed him. Finally, the great Rajasuya Yajna was performed. At the end of the Yajna, when it came to honor the most respected personality, then Yudhishthira Maharaj, with the approval of everyone present there, in fact, Bhishma got up from his place and he said only one person deserves the highest honor in this assembly, and that is, who is that person who deserves the highest honor in the assembly? What did everyone say? They were all the great kings of the world. And yes, that was Krishna. Krishna, everyone began to cry in honor. Yes, Krishna is a supreme personality. He deserves that honor. However, one person was very envious of Krishna, who got up from his seat and he began to chastise, he began to criticize Krishna. He said, Krishna doesn't deserve it. We don't even know what Varna is he. Is he a Kshatriya? Is he a Vaishya? None of us know. How can you claim this ordinary man to be a king? Who was that person? Shishupal, yes. And Shishupal began to curse. Bhima got from his place in anger and Bhima said, I will smash the face of this rascal. And that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhishma Dev said, no, don't do anything. And Vyasadeva was also present. So Vyasadeva said, hey, Bhima, do not do anything to Shishupal because you cannot kill Shishupal. Because he can only be killed by Krishna because of the blessings that he got. Wait, let the show get complete. Krishna would himself take care of it. And when he cursed Krishna 100 times, Krishna then threw his chakra and chopped off the head of Shishupal. When Shishupal was killed, there was a crazy friend of Shishupal sitting in the assembly who got really angry. He came running and he said, Krishna, fight with me and I'll kill you. And Krishna said, my dear king, you will fight with me, but where are your weapons? You're so angry that you forgot to bring your weapons. And this king looked behind. He didn't have a sword, he didn't have an arrow, nothing. And Krishna again, through his chakra, chopped off the head of this king. Who was this king? To whom did Krishna kill? What was his name? Dantavakra. Yes, that was the name of Dantavakra. I hope yesterday all of you were explained who Shishupal and Dantavakra in the previous life. Does anyone know who Shishupal and Dantavakra in the previous life were? So in the previous life, Shishupal and Dantavakra were Ravana and Kumbhakaran. Ravana and Kumbhakaran. And prior to that, they were Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Tomorrow is the day where Hiranyakashipu, millions of years ago, was killed by Lord Narasimhadev. Tomorrow is Narasimha Jayanti. So today, Krishna is killing Shishupal in this incident of Rajasuya Yajna, and tomorrow Narasimhadev will kill Hiranyakashipu. So like this magnificent Rajasuya Yajna was completed. All the kings, everyone was assembled. They were very happy, and they all decided to go back. Two things, very important thing that I'll mention, and then we'll come to the conclusion of today's discussion. Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. He came to the help of Pandavas to help them organize this Rajasuya Yajna, which was a great event, huge event. So everyone was assigned services. Just like Bhima was given the in charge of kitchen, Duryodhan was given the in charge of gifts. Everyone was given different, or not the gifts, the treasury, Duryodhan. So different people were given different responsibility. So Krishna, the Supreme Lord Krishna, had also taken one responsibility. Like this, he's going to contribute. And what responsibility did Lord Shri Krishna took? He took the responsibility of guest reception, which means Lord Shri Krishna will personally welcome every single guest who was invited for this Rajasuya Yajna. And what was it meant by guest reception? Which means in those days, every guest who will enter, who will come for Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna was personally washing the feet of all the kings and all the Brahmanas. And such is the glory of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who loves to do any kind of service for the pleasure of his devotee. Just to please Pandavas, Krishna took such a humble role where the supreme personality of Godhead was washing the feet of every single guest like this. So the whole Rajasuya Yajna ended. Everyone was happy except for one person. Do you know who was that one person who was totally unhappy? Of course, there were two envious people, Shishupal and Dantapatra, but they were envious of Krishna, not Yudhishthira and Pandavas. But there was somebody who became extremely envious. He was like, what is the use? These Pandavas are so powerful. Although we gave them the desert land, they converted the desert land into the most fertile land, into a most magnificent city. They have become the most powerful people again. What is the use of me being the king of Indraprasth? Me being the king of Hastinapur? And that person was none other than Duryodhan. So Duryodhan was burning with envy. He was really, really upset. So when Rajasuya Yajna got completed, Duryodhan and Shakuni, Duryodhan's favorite mama, Shakuni mama and Shakuni's bhanja, Duryodhan, they both decided to stay back for a few more days and just to take a tour of the whole palace. So Maya Danav had glorified the palace a lot to Duryodhan, and Maya Danav had told Duryodhan that this is the best palace I have built, and you will not find a palace like this in all the 14 worlds. So Duryodhan, anyways, he was very envious. So he wanted to go and see the beauty of this whole palace. So the incredible thing about this palace was it was not made from any of the materials by which you build a building or a palace. There were no ordinary walls. Whatever material was used for construction those days was not used for this building of this palace. It was an incredible palace. As I said, it was built of the most expensive jewels and the diamonds and the emeralds and whatnot. Unless somebody gives you a tour of that palace, it was very difficult for you to understand what is a reality and what is a mirage. On the request of the Lord, Maya Danav had built this palace in such a way that there were a lot of security features into the palace. And because of the security features, anyone who tries to enter the palace would not know which direction to go. So there were many security features applied into this particular palace. So like this, Duryodhan in his arrogance, he was asked, should we guide you for a tour? He said, no, I don't need a guided tour. I know myself. I can find a way myself. So like this, Duryodhan along with his Shakuni went out for the tour of the palace. And when he went out for the tour of the palace, when he was walking in a passage, he saw a water body. And he saw a water body, so he became a little alarmed. Very carefully, he walked towards it and he tried to touch it with his feet. And then he realized, oh, actually, that's an illusion. It's not a water body. In fact, it's a hard ground. So Duryodhan, although nervous, became comfortable and he walked over it. And then he went a little ahead and then he saw again, which looked like a water body, but wasn't a water body. And Duryodhan thought, oh, this is also again a trick, but this is not a water body. I know this is not a water body, this is a hard body. And he walked straight into it and it turned out to be a water. And Duryodhan slipped into that water, kind of a small pond. And that's the time Draupadi and Pandavas were seeing this scene. And Draupadi began to laugh out loud because it was hilarious. Duryodhan was so proud and all the Pandavas were laughing. In fact, Krishna was standing there. All were laughing at the stupidity of Duryodhan. Somehow Duryodhan got up from that place and he went to another direction and then he came to a door. He thought that is a door and very carefully he was trying to cross through, but there was no door. And when he went ahead, he thought there is no door, but there was a door and he went and he banged his head against the door. Like this, Duryodhan felt really insulted and he decided to go back to his kingdom, to Hastinapur. Yudhishthira Maharaj sought for forgiveness. Hey, my dear brother, don't be so upset. But Duryodhan had become very envious and very upset. He went back. After this, the very last incident that happens in Sabha Parva is the entry of Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva comes to meet Pandavas and he tells to Pandavas, hey Pandavas, you would live peacefully for the next 13 years. You will rule this Indraprasth and rule the world peacefully for the next 13 years. But after 13 years, hey Yudhishthira Maharaj, you will become the cause of the destruction of the whole human race. Please pay attention, this is a very important point. Vyasa said, after 13 years, Yudhishthira Maharaj, you will become the cause of the most massive fight in the world, because of which millions and millions of people will die. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was shocked. He said, because of me, I would not let this happen. And then Vyasa said, Yudhishthira Maharaj, you will not be the only cause. The main cause will be Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Because of their envy towards you, they will not live you peacefully. And like that, there will be a great fight between the brothers, between you and the Kauravas, where the whole world will assemble at the war and everyone will die. By saying this, Vyasadeva went away. And that is the time which generally people do not talk outside. People say Yudhishthira Maharaj was addicted to playing a dice game. No. That's the time Yudhishthira Maharaj took a vow. What vow Yudhishthira Maharaj took? Very important point. Yudhishthira Maharaj took a vow that I take a vow. Whatever my senior would ask me to do, I will not say no. I will follow the advice of my senior. Somehow, Duryodhana and Shakuni got to know of this vow or commitment of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So Duryodhana and Shakuni made a plan, and they went and approached Dhritarashtra, and they convinced Dhritarashtra to invite Yudhishthira Maharaj for a dice game. Dhritarashtra was not in favor, but because Dhritarashtra was himself a demonic mindset, so he agreed. And like that, a dice game was planned. Yudhishthira Maharaj came to play the dice game because not he was addicted to dice game, but because he had no other option. He had taken a vow that he would follow whatever the senior says. And Dhritarashtra was his uncle. He could not say no. And that's the time dice game happened. There were twice dice game took place. And in the first dice game is when Draupadi was insulted. And when Draupadi was insulted, and as we know at the end, Lord Shri Krishna appeared. When Draupadi raised her hand and called out for the Krishna's name, Krishna appeared. Krishna was sitting in Dwarka, far off. Again, beautiful, again a pastime which magnifies the love of Krishna for his devotees. As soon as Draupadi raised her hand and called out for the name of Krishna, Krishna immediately appeared to Draupadi and saved her. We'll speak in details about this pastime when we speak about the character. And that's the time when Gandhari appeared at the scene. And Draupadi was so upset that she was about to give a curse. And then suddenly Gandhari came and she stopped Draupadi from giving a curse to the whole Kshatriya race. At that time, Gandhari chastised Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra was so ashamed and so scared of Draupadi's curse that he called Draupadi and he begged forgiveness from Draupadi. And he asked Draupadi, please forgive me for what all has happened. I became blind. I'm already blind, but I became blind because of my affection to my son, but it is not my mistake. Your husband was also at mistake. Like that, he pleaded. And he said, Draupadi, ask for me anything you want. And Draupadi asked everything that Yudhishthira Maharaj had lost in the dice game. And like that, Draupadi and 5 Pandavas went back to Indraprastha. Again, whatever was won by the Kauravas was given back to Draupadi, given back to Yudhishthira. But Duryodhana was really upset. Duryodhana was, although he was a cheater, he cheated, but he was really upset. And then they again planned for a dice game. And this time, the second time dice game was played. And the condition was, Duryodhana said, if I lose, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Hastinapur is yours. However, if you lose, your Indraprastha is mine. And second condition, whoever loses the game, that person will go to the forest for 12 years in exile and 1 year in incognito. 1 year incognito means in hidden. अगर आप 13वां साल में अगर आपको मैं दूसरा किंग ढूंढ के निकाल देता है तो आपको 12 साल वनवास में दोबारा जाना पड़ेगा. Although Yudhishthira Maharaj knew this is a plan of Shakuni and Duryodhana to cheat Yudhishthira Maharaj, but invitation had come from Dhritarashtra. Yudhishthira Maharaj could not say no again. And as you all know the story, Yudhishthira Maharaj went to play, and Shakuni, nobody could defeat Shakuni in a dice game. And Shakuni defeated Yudhishthira Maharaj, and Pandavas along with Draupadi had to leave Indraprastha and they had to go to the forest. All the 5 Pandavas along with Draupadi had to leave the comfort of the palace, everything, and now had to live in the forest for 12 years, plus 1 year in incognito. Incognito means उनको छुप के रहना है. Duryodhan should not be able to find about them. Agar Duryodhan can find Pandavas where they are, then Pandavas have to again go for 12 years in forest. So that was the whole plan of Duryodhan, to make sure the Pandavas never become king of any province. And like this, Duryodhan and envy personified cheated Yudhishthira Maharaj and Pandavas. And Pandavas accepted it, considering it to the will of Providence. So tomorrow when we meet, we'll talk about Vanaparva. We'll give you again the overview, some few stories here and there we'll share. This is the time when Arjuna went and met Lord Indra. He went to Indralok. This is the time when he had a fight with Lord Shiva. And that's the time Lord Shiva, being very pleased with Arjuna, gave him his most powerful weapon. And like that, there are many, many beautiful stories. This is the time when Bhima met with Hanumanji. So many, many things. This is the time when Yudhishthira Maharaj delivered King Nahusa, who was cursed and became a serpent. Many beautiful incidents and stories happened in the 12th year of their exile and the last year of incognito. And after Vanaparva, just right after that, the war will begin. And then we'll see that tomorrow. So with that, we pause here. So we are just trying to give you a little bit of overview, because all of you would have seen Mahabharata serial, but the flow in the serial was not accurate as according to the Mahabharata. That's the reason we are sharing this flow with all of you. And with that, we pause here. Tomorrow, when we meet again, we'll continue with Vanaparva. So thank you all for attending today's session. However, please, before you sign out, quick announcement.